Well, we're back here at the live stream of the Wesleyan Church General Conference 2016, joined by a good friend of ours from our former Technology Show days, Dan Irvine, who is a missionary to Haiti and has been for a long time. I've also got his.
The newest, is that the newest?
This is
right
the
there?
newest. Listen, they just did the summit at Houghton, and they've got all these new cards for the missionaries. And
What's that one going for on eBay already?
I'd rather not say. I'm trying to. All I know is I have created scarcity in the product. Dan, thanks so much for being with us. Just tell everybody watching at home kind of what your role is there in Haiti and overseeing what's going on.
I think the last time we talked, I was speaking specifically about Haiti and generally about the area because I was the mission director in Haiti. Had a lot of operation kind of responsibilities day to day there. I've graduated now. I'm only the area director. We have a new mission director in Haiti.
Okay.
Somebody that we've worked with and trained through the years, and he's very, very capable and doing a great job. So the day-to-day stuff, I don't have to do that anymore. So I'm more free to be strategic. I'm spending a lot more time working with churches and promoting projects and that sort of thing. So it's kind of a relief to me. And frankly, a better fit for me because my brain's not wired for operations.
Wow!
So it's I'm enjoying life at this point at a different level.
That's awesome.
So you're here in the States for a little while?
Yeah, for the next year, we're taking dates and we're traveling. We're trying to keep south of the Mason-Dixon line in the winter months, but we're doing the summer and fall in the northern regions. You know, I grew up in the winter, but I'm not a big fan.
Yeah.
So I guess we won't see you in Buffalo in December then.
Prefer not. But I would go to your church.
Oh, that's so kind of you, Dan.
Do it. Schedule them in December.
Should I call him on it?
I'll go there in December. Yeah.
We were talking earlier. We have the opportunity to live in the region of the country. Of course, I know Beth, I know Matt. You have kids in ministry, even some that are moving towards missions. So what's it like for you to watch that in your own family?
See, that's a hard question because I've mobilized a lot of missionaries and I've asked a lot of other families to release their children into ministry.
Wow.
But when my daughter told us what they felt, the calling that they felt, I was reacting not as a mission director. I was reacting as a daddy.
How about it?
And I said to her, what would possess you to wander off into a foreign field like that? And she goes, gee, Dad, I don't know. Where would that come from? So, yeah, we never put a straw on her path, but I have to honestly tell you, my daddy heart was like, really?
Yeah, no, I get it.
Calling's calling, and we honor that and respect that. So we've supported them. It's been fun to watch them grow up through the journey.
Yeah.
You talked about being more of an area director. So is your area just Haiti, or does it involve other parts of the Caribbean?
We work primarily with 3 countries, and we have some potential and some other contacts in some of the other surrounding countries, but we primarily work in Haiti, Suriname, and Guyana. And all 3 of those countries are on an interesting journey right now. In Global Partners, we supervise what are called mission units. All 3 of those countries have the potential in 2 or 3 years not to be mission units anymore. And that's a good thing because they're taking steps of maturity. So we're actually positioning ourselves to be unemployed, but that's a good thing.
That's right,
yeah.
Sure. Yeah. Those 3 countries, I don't mean to sound ignorant, I guess the language is the common thread there?
Actually, the common thread is colonial history and Afro-Caribbean presence, because the rest of the countries around, for the most part, are either part of the General Conference of the Caribbean. A lot of those were British, former British colonies, English-speaking. But these particular countries were kind of colonial orphans, and when we decided to designate the areas according to culture more than geographic location, which makes sense. Those were the predominantly Afro-Caribbean common colonial history, as opposed to the countries that are very Latino, Spanish or Portuguese speaking that surround them and interrelate with them somewhat, but very distinct cultures. And so the countries are more similar to each other than they are to their neighbors around them, and that was the way the decision was made.
Dan, can you say something in Creole? And I'll tell you why. I was in Haiti, and usually I'm pretty good with languages and being able to say, and I just couldn't get my tongue around that. Just say something for us.
When I get asked that question quite a bit, and it's kind of an anomaly for somebody from North America to speak Creole, and so I usually do John 3:16.
Okay.
As, my default. Parce que bon Dieu si tellement aimé le monde, li bay sel petit li a que n'importe monde qui croit en lui pas péri mais va gagner la vie éternelle.
And so the translation for that
They speak in tongues. I have a translation.
Matthew TG, our technical producer here, he tells the story. He said that your grasp of the language is so good that some people, like Haitians in the church, so they've closed their eyes, and then listen to you like, well, who's the white Haitian? I mean, Yeah.
Well, then there are other days that they know. It's when you learn a second language, you always have points of failure along the way. I mean, you don't completely grasp it, but our brain was young when we first learned it. That helped.
Well, I was going to say when the national people there are complimentary of your grasp of the language, you must do pretty good.
Yeah, one of the things I'm struggling with now is my hearing. I'm getting old, and my hearing isn't as good as it was. So sometimes I have to say to people, say that again, say that again.
Yeah.
Dan, what does it take to have a heart and to sustain a heart for a place like Haiti, which over the years has received so much aid, and sometimes we hear a thing called, donor fatigue, and yet you've maintained your passion for the ministry there. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I think the answer is pretty simple. It's the character of the people. Almost everybody who comes to Haiti for the first time is like, wow, these people are tough and they're courageous and they find ways to be so happy in a difficult situation. And people come back. We have most of our visitors now, and the people who are really committed hardcore to help support ministry and support projects are repeat visitors and repeat supporters, because they have just identified with what's happening there. And I think if you have any compassion at all, you realize that these are people who are trapped by circumstances. These are not people who are creating their own problems. These are people who are just stuck. And, I'm a glass half full kind of guy. I'm very optimistic, but sometimes Haiti will burn through your positive attitude pretty quickly. It just seems like so many obstacles are there for their development. And yet we can't quit. Quit's not one of our options. And I think there's reason to believe there's positive progress in a lot of ways.
I had a chance to go, 3 or 4 years ago. And
you guys have all been.
I have not been able to go yet. I'm the one,
the
lone holdout.
Let's get on that, okay?
Hey.
And Matthew Tejan and I have had conversations, not just about our respect for you and the ministry you have there, but we've talked a lot about Carl Gilles at Maya. And for Carl, he Haitian, he was raised there, and to come here to get educated, get his schooling at Kingswood University, and then to go back, to have a heart for that. There's a tremendous amount of respect that I have for him.
Absolutely. I hope Carl's okay with me saying this, but the first time I ever talked to Carl about going back to Haiti, he looked at me and he said, because Carl left Haiti in a very, very difficult time, a wave of criminal violence and political instability and real threats and kidnapping. I mean, it was a very tough time, and Haiti has very few good times, but this was an especially low point when he was leaving the country. And he said to me, I said to him, I really need you to come back and work with the team. I mean, we need that cultural interpreter. We need somebody that can help us really get to the heart of the issues there and move this church forward. And he said to me, what you're asking me to do is like asking somebody to run back into a burning building. He wasn't kidding, and it was a very graphic illustration of what, because he's thinking about his wife and his children, and he was just dating at the time, but he expected to have those things, which he does now, the most beautiful little girls in the world.
Yeah, we talk about that. It's kind of, we say it's a representation of the kingdom, just a kaleidoscope, beautiful family.
Yeah, and but so the point was, it wasn't my conversation that brought him back to Haiti, he had a very deep conviction that God was calling him to do that, to take his family there.
Yeah.
So I think, Haiti may be, for people from North America, just maybe one of the most misunderstood countries in the world.
I think so.
So as people are watching, and like Kim said earlier, they're like, well, we've sent all this stuff there. Why, what's wrong with these people? So for people watching at home, what would be like the top 3 things that people could pray for and just kind of get in the closet and really bear down and pray to make a difference?
Let me add to that. And what is it that we don't know?
Yeah.
You're kind of asking me, like, if you could tell everybody the important things, what would they be? And I would say this. The people who get frustrated with Haiti and make some pretty crazy statements about why are we there, what are we doing there, why. I hate to say this, but a lot of the help and aid that's gone to Haiti is well-intentioned, but not really strategic or helpful. In fact, a lot of the aid, the well-intentioned aid, has actually been damaging. And I'm really glad that there's a lot of good thinking going on now about when helping hurts.
Yeah.
And I do a little presentation playing off of that and using a lot of that material called When Helping Helps, because the point I want to make is there are right things to do.
Sure.
But we need to be careful to be doing the right things. And there's a really deep principle that I feel needs a little more understanding and airtime among Christians, and that is this. It sounds trite, and it sounds like, oh yeah, okay, when you say the real root problems are spiritual, but they are. And in Haiti, one of the issues is that many Haitians do not really believe that they are children of God, made in the image of God, equal with every other person or believer, if they're believers, on the face of the earth. And there's a lot of reasons why they feel that way. They have a lot of historical issues that play into that, including slavery and including the struggles that they've had. And now they look around now, and there's not very much to be proud of. I mean, they make the news for so many negative things. But that's a spiritual issue. Yeah. That's nothing else but a spiritual issue. You are a child of God. We sang that this morning. I am a child of God. And I watched some of those, and I watched them declare that with confidence, and that's very heartwarming to me, because you can't do development until you deal with that. The people who don't believe that they're capable are not. People who don't believe they're worthy are not. They're never going to step forward, because their development is sunk before it starts, if you know what I mean. They just, when they hit those challenges, they default to those lies that Satan's telling them. And Satan's only got one weapon, and it's lies, but he's good at it. He knows how to stick them. Yeah. And so I've also said, and people think it's crazy, only Christians can really do development work, because only Christians start where the root of the problem is. But that depends on whether they're doing the right thing, whether they get that. You know, you don't start by teaching people how to pound nails or how to make shoes or how to lay block. You've got to start by saying to people, according to the Word of God, because it's not our authority, according to God's own Word, according to God's own voice, you are His child, and you are valuable, incredibly valuable, and you are equal with any other living human being in value and potential.
Yeah.
Well, Dan, our district, the Western New York district, we just had a vision team in Haiti maybe about a month or so ago. And we just came back with just a new love and determination, not only to continue partnership, but this whole idea of helping in a helpful way. I mean, we've really grasped that to the point where at our district, at our conference this year, we're going to have a whole session for our churches on how to help in a helpful way. And one of the things that really struck me was that the flight from Atlanta, we went through Atlanta, the flight from Atlanta to Haiti, maybe 2 hours, and you're in a different world. That's very mind-boggling. 2 hours away.
It's a great observation.
You know, because usually we're flying 19 hours, 17 hours, then we say, oh, here we are, and it's this.
Africa.
Right. I wasn't going to say that. I didn't want to. But this time, it's 2 hours away. And here we are. And so just wanted you to know that our district has recommitted in a fresh new way.
I love to hear that, and the truth is we can't do it by ourselves. Without those partnerships, without the people who are holding the ropes and providing the resources, and I think you're going to see us reaching out even more to professionals, not necessarily ministry people, but people who have skills that are needed there, and we're doing a better job at creating a platform for those people to engage directly on the field with the church and with the people.
Well, if you want to find out more about Dan and Joy and their work, you can go to globalpartnersonline.org. You can read about missionaries all around the world. Better than that, you can support financially and through prayers missionaries all around the world, people like Dan and Joy. Dan, thank you so much for joining us. It is always great.
Always a pleasure.
Hear your stories and to see you and some of your family here. And I Tony mentioned it. We're very excited to kind of see this next phase, this next generation of your family who's now going to serve. It's just a great
and
thing.
Real quick, we also understand you took a van and you converted it, and you're living in the van for the whole year. Is that right?
Well, we do a lot of long weekends, and it's just nice to have the flexibility to have your own schedule and to have your house on your back kind of thing. Ours was made in Germany, so we call it a Schneckenhaus, which means little snail house, I think, in German, if that's correct. I hope that's what it means. But anyway.
I hope I get a chance to see it. I think I probably will.
It's in the parking lot.
Oh, okay.
I smell a Facebook Live tour of the van.
Yes.
I think that's what's going to happen.
And then we can say, welcome to the Tiny House Nation.
Ultimate tiny house, 84 square feet.
So, hey, maybe you're not able to follow the live stream live the whole time. You can subscribe to the Wesleyan Headquarters YouTube page, and then that way all the videos are going to be delivered right to you. So we've got interviews coming up all afternoon before our pre-show tonight at 6:30, where I'll be talking with some rural and small church pastors, and then tonight at 7 o'clock, a very special worship service. Again, thanks to Dan and for Tony and Kim and Matthew at the controls. I'm Heath Mulliken, and we'll be back soon.